and welcome to The Good Interview. I'm your host, Colin Birch, and today I am incredibly grateful to be sitting here in the Drakensberg, specifically at the Cavern Resort and Spa. Thanks to Megan Bedingham, the current owner and manager of the Cavern. She has been gracious enough to allow us to come all this way, experience the absolute beauty of this place. And let me tell you, folks, it is truly something else. The pictures really don't even do it justice. They are beautiful, but no, it is a whole other experience. So thank you, Megan. We really appreciate it. And yeah, let's. How are you doing today? Sorry.
All good today, thank you. It's lovely to have you guys here with us. Yeah, we're very privileged to be up in the mountains, actually. Yeah.
No doubt, no doubt. And yeah, we've been staying here for a few days now, getting to experience some of the things. And I can definitely tell you, I've never experienced something like this. The atmosphere, the what do you call it, the friendliness of the staff, the attention to detail, and everything is just incredible. So well done on that.
No, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think when you've been here for as long as we've been here for, you sort of start to, yeah, you kind of do take note of the small things, and it is, our staff are lovely. They've been with us many for a long time, but they sort of buy into the purpose of why we all here.
Mm. It's good when you can create a nice cultural or ethos that or that everyone can live by and can stand behind.
Yeah,
Really, it takes it. Yeah.
No, I think it's important. I think it's important. It gives your business sort of longevity if everybody believes in what we're doing, and it's more than just like a stay in a hotel. Yeah. So
No doubt.
hopefully you feel that.
Yeah, no, it actually feels like a home away from home, if I could say it like that, which is nice.
Good.
So yeah, getting right into it. There have been three generations, right, that have shaped how the Cavern, what the Cavern is today. And I wanted to ask you, how has it changed from the time you were raised here, grew up here? So how has it changed in that time? How has it evolved? And what values have you tried to hold on to most firmly?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think in the 70s and the 80s, when my dad and his brother Anthony joined the Cavern and joined my grandmother, they spent a lot of time sort of building it, bricks and mortar and adding rooms but and then when we came and joined them 20 years ago, our thing has really just been on refining things and changing things and updating to sort of suit the markets. And you need to keep doing that, I think. You can't sort of sit still in hospitality because, trends change and people's expectations increase. And so you've kind of got to grow with that. And I think if you want to be a good business, you have to respond to the changes of your clients and what they're expecting. And I think also, in the old days, people would come here for a much longer period of time. They would come, say, for, at least a week or sometimes even 3. And today we have people coming in for much shorter time. So, I suppose our average stay is probably 3 to 4 nights.
Okay.
And, you have to respond to that and make sure that, the place is ready, the people are ready to welcome, and people can have a really, good stay. And people, I think, when they come to the mountains, they want to be busy and, well, not everybody, but, they want to hike, they want to get out, they want to be in nature, they want to experience the place. So it has evolved in time sort of more naturally than really forced, because, if you spend time in the buildings, you'll see that, things are sort of, there are lots of nooks and crannies and, buildings have been joined together and it's kind of gently evolved in time. And I think that's what adds to maybe the charm of the place.
That makes sense. And I was surprised to see, because obviously we walked around a bit, I was surprised to see how many buildings there actually are here, but they're all really nestled nicely together so that, it doesn't really interfere with the landscape at all. It's just it's like a symbiotic relationship between the buildings and the land, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I think the thatch roofs help, it sort of makes you blend into your surroundings. So that's, and I think that's important when you part of a wilderness space. You don't really want to be stark and standing out too much. You want to blend into it and be part of it. And so hopefully even, experiencing the place, you are kind of in nature and you're feeling that space and enjoying the surrounds even within the buildings. Yeah.
All right. And just out of curiosity, why do you think it is that people have opted for shorter stays when before it was much longer?
Well, I think that the roads it's easier to get to us. I think in the old days it was very difficult. The roads were muddy. It was a real mission to make a sort of trek out to the Drakensberg, and so people did stay for 2 to 3 weeks at a time if they were doing these sort of annual holidays. But I think holidays have changed and people also have changed, and and I think also even international tourists are coming here. They were trying to see the whole of South Africa, so that they can't spend too long. They are coming in for sort of, and I think 3 to 4 nights. I wouldn't, 3 nights is sort of maybe the shortest stay that you should try and stay, because otherwise you don't get to really experience the mountains and everything that they have to offer.
100%. Yeah, there's a lot to take in here. So I can understand that 3-day stay wouldn't necessarily always be make you capable of experiencing everything that you have to offer. 100%.
Yeah.
So you guys have been bringing guests together now for 84 years this year.
Yes, so October's our birthday month. So we've celebrate 84 years in hospitality as a family, and and I think for us it's about continuing a legacy that our grandmother started, and it's really important to us that it's entrusted to us for this season. It's not ours forever, and we hope that it will continue in future generations. But she gave up much of her life to make this place a success, and so we owe it really to our grandparents and even our parents for continuing it. And our mission is really to keep the ethos of the place and the atmosphere of the place the same, but sort of just be able, sort of just adapting to sort of modernizing your interiors, or but really it needs to keep its soul.
Yeah, the authenticity.
Yeah.
So what do you think it is that keeps enticing people to come back? And 84 happy years of return.
Many happy returns. Was coined by guests in the 1950s, so it kind of stuck a little bit. But I think the mountains call you back. There's a great healing that happens in mountains, I think, when you are feeling exhausted from life and the sort of challenges, and being able to spend time in nature. I think people, they need that. But there is something about the hills, it's always lovely. And I think that if you come back to a familiar space, it's easy and you don't have to think about everything. And so when somebody enjoys an experience, they will often go back to that experience because it's simple. As soon as you arrive, you relax. It's not about trying to learn how does this place work and where do I find things. You just come in, you park your car, and that sort of feeling of being restored and enjoying yourself it's just sort of immediate. And I think that's probably why and if you like a little bit of routine, then returning to old places is always cool. And I think that we've tried to keep the place interesting. So we try and do something every year. So, at the moment we're busy redoing our top tennis court, and we're going to put in a little play area. And, so people love that. They love coming back and seeing what's changed. And I think that also entices them back.
Okay, so a little bit of comfort, a little bit of, let's say, change, Then, okay, I like that. I do. So food and hospitality, right, are obviously integral to the Cavern. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think, how do you guys approach dining and accommodation? Because, again, as I mentioned earlier, the attention to detail is incredible. And, just from what we've experienced here, where every day there's its own curated menu. You have little pamphlets that you print out that has the quizzes in the morning with answers in the evening, and then a little bit of history about the place as well. Even the weather report, it's a lot, and it's impressive.
I think you use everything. You refine things as you go, and improve steadily as you go. And we had a gentleman who used to do birding weekends here, and he had been on a ship going down near the Antarctic, and he said, they had a breakfast quiz, why don't we do that? So we we added that, and the stories on the back of the menu for dinner time, those just are to share things that are unique and special about the place. And I think that if you don't tell people, they won't realize quite how special things are. But I think our actual food itself is, it's our idea is always that it was wholesome and tasty. But we've never really sort of punted ourselves as a foodie destination. But I don't think any of our guests leave hungry.
No,
Yeah.
wouldn't say that.
Yeah, and I think you do, you sort of explore different things and you add to what you're doing, and I think in hospitality that's important. You can't sit still.
Yeah.
You've always got to be looking at, continually thinking, well, what can I do to make things a little bit better or just a little bit more interesting, because people appreciate that. Yeah.
No, they really do, and it's, again, as I said, the menus being curated every day or crafted every day. What's interesting to me is I wonder how do you guys use it to celebrate local culture? And that, I mean, I saw gnocchi on the menu last night. Which was
I don't know if that's
amazing.
so local, but yeah, but no. I mean, I think also our chefs are often looking for new dishes because I think if you don't try new stuff and implement new things, that you actually start to stagnate as a person too. And so even for our own teams, we sort of celebrate that people are looking up on sort of social media to look at how fancy desserts can be, plated. And so I think that those sort of things are important to keep the place interesting, to keep staff, staff have to keep themselves motivated, and by trying new things. And I think that's important. And we try as well to buy sort of local. So we support, we get our cheeses from the Midlands, which is close to us. All of the South African wines in our cellar are, obviously all local SA wines. Our coffee comes from Turbador, which is also, South African and was started in KZN here. So we do, definitely try to support local as much as we can. Our meats come from Harry Smith in Bergville, which is just sort of 50 k's away. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm glad to hear it that you guys do want to, what do you call it, at least, or that you make it a point to actually support the local communities, and obviously with, as we'll get into a bit later, with some of your projects that you have funded. It's just it's incredible thing that you guys do here. So I also wanted to find out, right? So the Cavern offers a wide range of experiences from hiking to days at the spa, and how have you guys gone about creating the activities so that not only families but couples and even solo visitors can find something that they enjoy doing and that suits them?
Yeah, so I think, Drakensberg holidays have always been about activity, I think, in the past. And I think sometimes people are put off because they think it's going to be too difficult. And so what we try to do here is, we have 2 guided walks that go off each day. One is a long walk, which is more strenuous. It's a bit more challenging, and people that want to really have a physical workout, they can enjoy that. But we introduced shorter walks many years ago, and those were really to sort of, to cater for people that were elderly or with people with young children. And they all go off to just a different destination on the Cavern property, and the guide takes tea out and juice, and we have Cavern crunchies, which are just the most fabulous things ever. People come back just for the crunchies, I think. But and I think that you kind of have got to craft this day so that it suits a range of people, and that's maybe why we get lots of intergenerational families joining us, because there is something for everybody. The younger people can be extended, and they can do, say, the Big 5 hike, or they can hike over even into Royal Natal National Park. And those that just want to be a little bit sort of closer to home can go to Mays Falls or just to the top dams. And then, things like trout fishing, we've had, dams in the mountains for years. We stock them annually with trout. So that's always great. And then we built our spa really in 2007. And that was, I think, we had noticed that a lot of spas were popping up, and we thought, well, shall we join this? And we waited for a bit, and then we decided, no, actually it would be a good idea. And I think it complements this day of activity and busyness with something that is sort of tranquil and quiet and 100%. Very restorative, for me, the best part of our spa story is that, we always decided that we would have local ladies who would be therapists in our spa. And so we started with just 5 therapists that we trained in 2007. And since then, we've probably trained about 25 therapists, and many of them have gone on to new opportunities. So it's created a lovely space for rural women to also get improve skills, develop
100%.
themselves as people, and to move on to new spaces where the other opportunities. Yeah, so
That's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I was not aware of that you
yeah,
were upskilling them as well in that sense. Um, yeah, that's awesome.
yeah.
So, with sustainability, right, becoming more and more important to modern travelers, from waste reduction to energy conservation, right? How do you guys go about incorporating eco-conscious practices into your daily operations?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to consume quite a lot because you've
Mm.
got, we have over 100 guests that come and visit us at the Cavern when
Yeah.
we're at capacity. And, there is this, consumption, but we do try to, all of our waste is actually taken off site. Nothing
Mm.
stays here. We're very pleased to hear that there's probably going to be a glass depot coming in at Bergville where they'll be
Mm.
recycling glass, and I believe that that's
Awesome.
going to be happening with Heineken, which is a wonderful step.
Mm. Mm.
So that is very important. Getting, you don't want any waste to be left in the sort of natural surrounds, and so we try and champion for that too. That we don't, and we know occasionally even within our community we'll organise litter campaigns where we sort of try and do tidy ups, and
Yeah.
I think it's also about educating people about that. But we put in a solar farm actually around about COVID time, which was quite a scary time to be doing such a big investment. But we have solar energy here at the Cavern. All of our wastewater goes through a series of conservation tanks and reed beds and maturation ponds. So all of the water it goes back into the system.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah.
And we've got rid of plastic water bottles here. We don't sell them anymore. We have a dispenser, and people can buy if they are, the water is very good. But those who are nervous of drinking
I
Berg
understand.
water,
Yeah.
can it gets filtered through a special filter. But it's all, every sort of decision is made to try and reduce our waste. Even in our bedrooms, we no longer have tea bags that are individually wrapped. They go into a little glass jar. The tea bags are dried out and used as, put into paraffin and used as fire
Yes, of course.
lighters. And so all of those little things, help, I think, with waste and just being conscious. But it is it's something that you've got to continually work at, and be aware of. I think, with all the things that we do in life. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a process that unfolds.
Mm.
So I also wanted to find out, in terms of these practices, right? How do you think they help encourage guests to be more mindful of the environment and the surrounding areas?
Yeah, I think that just by making people, like, we have like a little sticker that says less packaging, less waste, and
Mm.
you sort of help you educate your guests as you go, and we encourage people to put lights off when they're on the room and to use their towels for more than one day, and I think that the world is becoming more mindful. I think that there's a growing awareness, and I think people actually appreciate places that are making an effort towards conservation and preservation, and
Yeah.
and it isn't really just within terms of the hotel, but actually in terms of the land here. We're very aware of invader species in the area. We know how important the Drakensberg water system is. A lot of our water goes over to Gauteng. So, we've for years have been eradicated. Particularly the silver wattle was a problem in this area, and so those sorts of things are important. And I try and do like a weekly talk with our guests if I can, either each week or every second week, and we try and share our story. And I think by sharing the story, it raises awareness, and I think people appreciate it.
I can see that.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, yeah. So Megan, when you think of the Cavern as part of the card collection, what role do you see the Cavern playing, and how do you think it contributes to the overall vision?
So the Cavern is I suppose we are sort of the founding sort of establishment or business, and the Cavern's got a long history, and it has been fortunate to have been fairly successful, and I think also people know it. So it sort of is it's kind of like the mothership, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the way of putting it. But yeah, and so I think our mission really is to kind of support the other businesses that are sort of growing more and developing and finding their space in the market.
I see.
Yeah. But our grandfather, when he wrote to our grandmother and he wrote the letter and he put in his vision, we've adopted that vision as our sort of family vision.
Yes.
To create beauty, to make the land more fertile, to make our living and to leave the world better. And that works no matter where you're working. It's for high end or sort of people that are wanting sort of self-catering accommodation or something. You can respond with that vision in mind.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. It's like the heart that's pumping blood into Sangabala and Watusi and that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they stand as their own entities, but the Cavern can support, I think, play quite a good supportive role.
Okay.
From the sides.
Okay, so I also wanted to ask you in terms of, well, sorry, started that one off wrong. I also wanted to ask you about your grandmother Ruth, right? She's obviously such an integral part of the Cavern and its story. And I wanted to find out from you if there are any stories or just personal memories that resonated with you that still kind of guide you to this day and help you nurture and lead the Cavern.
Well, I think why we sort of hold Ruth in such high regard is that she was widowed after just being married for 13 years, and she had four small children.
Wow.
So my dad was, I think, 7 when his dad passed away, and she was sort of encouraged to kind of give it all up and leave, and she decided that she'd stay, and so she was pretty steadfast in her decision, and she saw its potential, and she really did sort of give her whole life to this business to keep it going, because it wouldn't have been easy. There's no electricity, the roads were mud, she didn't have any sort of support, I suppose, except that she did have wonderful support through guests and friends and even her staff.
I see.
And so I think we feel sort of indebted to her in some respects because she stuck with it, and so we must too. But she was actually quite a private person, and but solid and strong, and and I think that when we have times that have been difficult for us, we've sort of you sort of think back to her and think, well,
what would
she
Ruth do?
managed through this. Yeah, Ruth managed through this. We must be able to. We're made of that same stock. So you kind of have that in the back of your head all the time. But she was, also as a grandmother, we would have tea with her every afternoon. 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. Actually, it was like and then there were always evening drinks and everything. It was very, the family was important, and I think that in a family business, you have to have conversations, and you've got to keep those. You've got to try and keep the emotion out of stuff when they're hard decisions, but by having tea and having evening drinks and learning how to be with each other at meals, I think you actually learn a lot as a family, and you have to choose to be, this family has to be successful in order for the business to be successful, and those family values are very important. I think they do sort of guide us even today.
Wow, that is, I really like that. The family has to be successful for the business to be successful. That is truly a beautiful thing.
Well, I think in a business like this where you're quite remote, you've got to be able to talk to each other, you've got to be able to rely on each other, and if you can't do that, then you're not going to it's not going to work, and it's hugely important, and it's not easy. I mean, I think family businesses are tricky things to, and even generations,
No doubt.
Very different idea.
Yeah.
And you've got to be respectful, but you'd also have to be strong in some of your choices and your, when you're moving forwards. Otherwise, you get stuck. And I don't think that, business has to evolve. It has to keep evolving.
As everything does, yes. But no, again, Ruth sounds like an incredible woman to have gone through what she has and just kind of pushed through and persevered, and the legacy shows. So
and I think she would be proud of what what her sons did, and then what us as grandchildren have managed to keep going. But we all do it with tremendous help from a lot of people, and that's what makes it a success.
Okay. So I've one last question to ask you, Megan, and that is, when you think of the future of the Cavern, right? Are there any new experiences or any new how can I say developments that you're thinking of introducing that will aid in the vision of the card collection?
Well, I think you've got to just keep moving forwards.
Mm.
That's important. Like we do. We sort of renovate rooms every year. We do about 12 rooms a year, and you got to tweak what you do, and you've got to look at how you improve things, and what is the market looking for, and what is it. But I think the whole thing about nature. I think over tourism is a big problem within the world. So the Drakensberg obviously provides a place that isn't actually it isn't over marketed, and there is
Mm.
still space and tranquility and peace, and so it actually fits very nicely into a market that's maybe looking for something else.
Mm.
Um, I think that this whole thing of being in nature, and there's this whole concept of forest bathing, which I think is quite fantastic, where
Mm.
you actually go into the forest, and that restores you. There are there's a natural process that happens that actually it heals you.
Mm.
And so I've been hasting about us building a forest pod. So we've got the forest retreat, which is our spa, and then I want to do like a lovely walkway into the forest a bit further,
Ooh.
and have a lovely forest pod, which will be a sauna, where you will be
That
like
sounds lovely.
in glass and looking out into the forest, and then having a space where people can just kind of sit and
Mm.
yeah, because I think that would be quite a cool thing to do. And then on the kids front, we're getting rid of one of our old tennis courts that's completely it's got too expensive to repair. So
Mm.
one of the tennis courts will actually become like a new kids play area,
That's
and I
nice.
think that's lovely. And I think children, they want to be outdoors, they want to be,
Mm-hmm.
enjoying that. And then our one tennis court's going to actually we're not going for paddle, because that's a bit too noisy for us
Okay.
out here, and probably maybe a bit too much of an investment. But we're going to put pickle
Mm.
lines into the tennis court that's being resurfaced. So those are little things that we're
Yeah.
doing for the future. Yeah.
Uh, I will say I very much agree with what you were talking about the forest bathing, as you said. There it really is something restorative about being in nature. We went for a hike yesterday, so to the Cannibal Cavern up there, and very interesting story too. But it's just that was about 2 hours there, and then you obviously spent some time there, and there was a little bit of a waterfall coming down just out the outside of it, and we sat there for a bit, and it's like the troubles and the worries of the world just disappeared entirely, and you're just in this little bubble of nature, and it's just we just after that we felt so much more refreshed coming back, and we were tired, so we just kind of lay around for the rest of the day, but it's no, there's nothing quite like it.
You get like a sense of achievement because you've completed something, but
Mm.
it's also you walk, and your mind kind of you go over things while you're walking, and then
Mm.
you actually find solutions on walks, I think, and I certainly do. And as you say, problems sort of start to dissipate a bit,
Mm. Mm.
and you do feel restored. And I think it doesn't even have to be. You don't have to go far, but just sitting in our fern forest is right close by, and the little waterfall that you can go to
Mm.
is about 6 minutes into the forest, and it's also a beautiful place. When people love these cold plungings become kind of thing. It's
Yeah,
a beautiful place to
Mm.
go and do
Mm.
that, and it's completely natural, which is
Mm.
amazing.
Yeah, no. While we were walking up, I actually found one of the rock pools just below Jim's cave. Dipped in there, and man, it was so nice. But I felt the cold in my bone. It was-
It wakes you up properly.
it really does. It really
Yeah.
does. But thank you so much, Megan. Again, I cannot thank you enough, in fact, for this whole experience, and to all our viewers at home. Truly, it is, I want to say, a once in a lifetime experience, but many happy returns.
Yeah,
So,
definitely happy returns, yeah.
exactly.
Thank you. Thanks for coming and experiencing it. And I think actually it's one of those things you can't really sell so easily.
Mm,
You have
mm.
to come here to find out what it's about.
No, 100%, 100%. Words can only be so useful.
Yeah.
Experiences are the changes, yeah. All right. Thank you again, and not only many happy returns, but I wish that you guys continue from strength to strength and continue to flourish in all that you guys do.
Thank you. We hope so too.
All right. To our viewers at home, thank you also for watching. Couldn't do it without you. You are our lifeblood. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Cheerio.